Now that we know the vocabulary for angle relationships with parallel lines with a transversal, we're going to be able to use the knowledge that we have about what's congruent and what's going to equal 180 to be able to figure out how much are the missing angle lengths. So the first example that we're going to do is one where we have the same side interior. Remember, same side means they're on the same side of the transversal, and interior means that it's inside the parallel lines. Whenever we have same side interior, they're going to equal 180. So because I know that adding these angles together, they're going to equal 180, I know I need to add this plus this. So I'm going to say 3x plus 7, that's my first angle. Now I'm going to add that to my second angle, 10x plus 17. 10x plus 17, and I know that together they're going to equal 180 degrees, equals 180. Now I'm just going to use the rules that we use whenever we were solving equations. Don't call me after midnight. So first I'm going to look, do I need to distribute anything? No parentheses, I'm good, I can skip that step. Next, combine like terms. That I do need to do. So I'm going to circle everything with a variable, making sure that I'm adding, if I'm adding or subtracting, and then I'm going to circle all of my constants, the numbers without variables. I'm going to just put a triangle around it. Then I'm going to combine that together. So my circles, I have positive 3x and positive 10x. Because I'm combining two positives, that's addition. 3 plus 10 is 13. So I have 13x. Next, I'm going to add together my triangles. So I have a positive 7 and a positive 17. When those are combined, because they're both positive, it's addition. 7 plus 17 is 24. Then I'm going to bring down my equal sign and my 180. So I didn't need to distribute. I combined. Next, I'm going to move variables if I have a variable on both sides. I don't. I've only got it over here, so I don't need to worry about that step. Next, we're going to add or subtract. Well, I have a positive 24, so I'm going to subtract 24 from both sides of the equal sign, because remember, with math, you've got to be fair. So then I'll bring down my 13x, bring down the equal sign, and then 180 minus 24 is 156. Then my final step is multiply or divide. Well, I've got this here. This is multiplication, so I'm going to do the opposite, which is division. So divide by 13. So x, I'm going to bring down the x, 156 divided by 13 is going to equal 12. So I did all that work to say what x equals, but I still don't know what the measure of these angles are. So now that I've got x, I'm going to plug that in. The 13, I'm going to plug it into x in my original problem. So my first one that I had was 3x plus 7. And again, I'm going to take this right here, substitute it in for there. So I'm going to have 3 times 13 plus 7 equals 43. Now there's two different ways you can figure out the other angle. The first is you can do the same steps that I just did. You can take your 10x plus 17 and do your substitution. So have 10. Did I say 13? I meant to say 12. I apologize. That should be 12. So 10 times 12 plus 17 equals 137. Or I could have said, you know what? I know adding these together is going to be 180. So I could have done 180 minus 43 equals 137 to figure out what that angle is right there. So that's two different ways you could have done. Use whichever works better for you. So now, let's say we have an example where we have alternate interior angles. So alternate, remember, they're on opposite sides of the transversal line. Interior means inside the parallel. And alternate interior angles are going to be congruent. They're going to equal each other. So I'm going to set this up. So I'm going to do my first value, which is negative 8x plus 8 equals negative 6x plus 20. Now I'm putting them as equal because they're congruent, so they're going to equal each other. And now I'm going to do my don't call me after midnight. I don't need to distribute. I don't need to combine like terms, but I do need to move variables. I prefer to move the smaller variable towards the bigger variable. So negative 8 is smaller than negative 6, so I'm going to get rid of that first. So I'm going to do plus 8x because that's the opposite of negative, plus 8x. So then I'm going to bring down my 8 equals 2x plus 20. So now that I've moved my variable, I'm going to add or subtract. So I've got a positive 20. So the opposite is negative 20 on both sides. 8 minus 20 is going to be negative 12 equals 2x. And then my last step is multiply or divide. So I've got multiplication here. So I'm going to divide here. Negative 12 divided by 2 is negative 6. So x equals negative 6. And now I have enough information to figure out what the value of the angles were. So I'm going to take my first one, which was negative 8x plus 8, and I'm going to substitute this in for x. So negative 8 times negative 6 plus 8 will give me 56. So I have two options here. I can do the substitution method again. I can do negative 6x plus 20. And if I substitute the negative 6 in for x, negative 6 times negative 6 plus 20 equals 56. They match, we're good. Or I could have said, well, they're congruent, so if this is 56, this must be 56. Either way works.